Hi, I'm Peter Orker from Peter Orker Piano Tuition, and it's Tuesday, so it's time for a Tuesday tip for better piano playing. I'd like to give you some tips on something that is fundamental to the piano. Indeed, it's even encapsulated in the full name of the instrument, pianoforte, which of course means soft, loud. I am of course talking about control of dynamics, the control of the volume of the sound you're making, from very quiet to very loud. Before the piano was invented in the late 18th century, no keyboard instruments had the facility for the player to change the dynamics directly by how they use their fingers on the keyboard. Organs, harpsichords, clavichords, virginals, they all depended on fixed dynamics which were set by the player separately from how they actually played on the keys. For example, in the organ, you had to get a change of dynamics. You would have to draw less or more stops, or use a swell pedal to achieve a kind of crescendo or diminuendo. But with the invention of the piano, players could at last have direct control, not only of the dynamics but of the tonal quality in general. So no wonder the piano caught on. But how does the piano do this? It is, after all, a machine which transmits what you play on the keyboard to allow the correct hammer to hit the correct string inside. Well, there's a really complicated mechanism which allows this to happen with great precision and sensitivity. You can see what's happening inside the piano in this model, which shows an exploded view of just one key and one string. So multiply that by the 88 keys of the piano and you can see how complicated things can get. Well, over the course of the next 3 Tuesday tips, I'll be showing you some ideas of how to best control dynamics from very quiet to very loud. There are different techniques for each, although of course there are some overlaps. So let's get cracking! Today's tip is all about playing softly, pianissimo and piano, marked PP or P. Sometimes in some music you even get PPP, triple pianissimo. It's arguable that the quiet dynamic is much harder to control. It's one of the most difficult dynamic ranges to master. Here's a piece of music here which is very soft. It's by Debussy. It's called La Fille aux Cheveux de Lin, which means the girl with the flaxen hair. Now my French isn't very good, but I did once hear of somebody whose French was even worse, and they mistranslated it as the girl with the horse's loins, which had a rather different effect on the dynamic level. It is actually very, very quiet to start with. So as I play, you can imagine what's happening inside the instrument, having seen that model, and you can imagine the hammers hitting the strings. But I can create a very quiet and sensitive dynamic like this. Now, 2 really important things you must do when playing very quietly are: number 1, imagine the sound that you want to make. This is really, really important preparation. You have to know in your mind what kind of sound that you're aiming to achieve. Otherwise, how are you going to get that sound out of the instrument? And number two, really listen to yourself as you play the notes. Does the sound you're making actually match the sound that you imagined? So that's a very, very important part of your practice. Imagining the sound, creating a sound, comparing the two. Physically, the most important thing to do is to be aware of the key bed. That is where the key stops when you press it down. It's usually just a few millimeters from the top of the key being fully up to the point at which it stops. You need to be aware of that distance. It's very common for inexperienced players when trying to play softly, to just kind of tickle the keys and play very timidly and not play right down to the key bed. This results in a thin sound, and also can even result in no sound at all, depending on the way the piano is set up. You can get nothing coming out. This piano is set up very sensitively, so actually it's very difficult not to make a sound. But on some pianos, it does take away that certainty that you're going to get a sound at all. And of course, an even worse case scenario is when it happens in the middle of a phrase and you get missing notes because they don't come out. It breaks the flow of the music. So play gently, but push all the way down to the key bed. A simple 5-finger exercise will help here. But after each note, give the key a tiny squeeze. This is not going to affect the sound, of course, as you've already made the sound. You can't influence it any further by squeezing the key or anything that you do. But what squeezing does is make you more aware of the distance of travel between the top of the key, where the key rests, and the bottom of the key bed when you push down. If you do this exercise frequently, you will develop an instinct for precisely gauging how much pressure you need to make for each dynamic level in the range: pianissimo, piano and mezzo piano, which is moderately loud. So just place 5-finger exercise, thumb on C, second finger D, third finger E, fourth finger F, fifth finger on G. Just play mezzo piano first, perhaps. 2 beats per note. Now you perhaps won't be able to see on the video, but what I was doing there was playing each note and then doing that tiny little squeeze just to feel that depth of distance from the top of the key to the key bed. And then try 1 degree lower, that pianissimo, piano. Once again, you play on the first beat, on the second beat, feel that squeeze. And then you can try pianissimo this time, PP. And as I said, before you play, imagine the sound that you want to make. And of course, listen carefully. Well, that's it for today, but thanks for watching. Next time we'll be looking at forte and fortissimo playing. And hope you'll have a look at that one next Tuesday. But bye for now.